Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Bye Bye Earth episode 3, in which we will see a trial of some sort that Belle will have to undergo. And we don't really know much besides that. She's going to be fighting with someone who she already fought with before, and she broke his sword. And that's where our knowledge ends about it. What happened in the previous episode, though? A whole of a fucking lot. That's what happened. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to recount everything that happened in the previous episode, but I'm gonna try. Belle arrived to a... No. First, Belle was in a quartz forest, apparently, crushing some crystals to make hot water to brew some tea. In that forest, she met a rabbit creature person thing that started gnawing on her stuff. And then she gave him a cup, like a wooden cup, to gnaw on. Then she went on to a city where she can get the ritual of becoming the nomad done, or whatever it is, the the nomad trials, or again whatever. She arrived at an inn where she learned that in this city you are either good or evil. Like, you are assigned at birth by God to be either good or evil, and if you're good, you live in the good part of town. And if you're evil, you live in the evil part of town, and the evil part is sprawling and chaotic, and the good part is, rigid borders and peace and quiet and stuff like that. So that's interesting. Then a bunch of people a bunch of evil people categorized as evil. Evil knights, I think in particular, they use like a specific word for knight, which essentially means a knight, but it's like solista. I think it might have been solista, with like some, music themes. That's another thing that happened in the previous episode. Metric fuckton of music themes, right? Solista, or solist. Yeah, solist. Solist being someone who performs solo, and also being a term for a knight in this country. Are there even other countries here? I don't know. But yeah, evil knights arrived with the rabbit in tow, and they wanted to kill that rabbit in the middle of the inn, because apparently their swords drinking that rabbit's blood would make those swords better somehow. Of course, Belle could not allow it, so she went to fight them, to save the rabbit. But she couldn't damage them seriously, like mortally, right? Her sword was like, it was hard to use it for her. She couldn't deal any proper damage. She could just smack them around so that they get knocked down. She could destroy their weapons, but not deal any serious wounds. And that is probably her curse, although we don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Then we learn that the swords are apparently grown, and that those guys have been growing their swords for a long time now, and now those swords were wilt and not revive. And it's like a taboo to destroy another's sword. Then arrived police with a fucking prison turtle. A turtle with a cage grown on top of its shell, or not even on top of its shell grown into the shape of a cage. Belle was carted off to a prison where she would be awaiting her trial as long as as some sort of a candle is lit. When it goes out, then the trial, but she didn't want to wait, so she broke out. And nobody really minded. They just got her to her friend, Shandy Gaff. Yeah, Gaff Shandy, rather. Who was also a student of Sian, which means that also in the meantime, Belle is recovering her memories of Xian. Gav somehow managed to get her out of this sticky situation, even give her a dog tag that she can use to fight. Like, you have to have a dog tag to be qualified to fight in the city, and she might need to fight more, so she needs a dog tag, apparently. Cool. And he promised to research her curse, and then they went for an audience with the king, like priest king. And there's an area, like the central castle, that consists of like 3 areas. I think there's like dance, battle, and law, judgment, something, courthouse, something like that. And in the middle of it is a tree. A tree that is apparently a cancerous growth of a sword, and that is the god. The tree of Yggdrasil, that is like a cancerous sword that grown into a tree, and that's a god. And that god has a priest who consists of like the good angel imagery and the evil demonic imagery, and he has like 2 heads. And they're gonna allow Belle to become a nomad, but before she can become a nomad, she needs to serve the king for a period of time. And if she wants to serve the king for a period of time, she needs to pass a challenge. And her challenge is going to be fighting someone whose sword she broke. I'm assuming initially, right when she got sword from the palace and was running away with it, she might have broken someone's sword by accident, or maybe purposely, I don't know. So she's going to be fighting him, and he's a centaur. And also in the meantime, we got a couple more like music things here and there, right? The king said something along the lines of, sing your instrument's name, meaning tell me the name of your weapon. And there was also the bit of villagers, or townsfolk rather, playing music for the crops so that the crops can grow, which is another like big meaning of music. And apparently Belle would also in the past try to play to the plants, but the plants would not grow when she played music to them, which tells me that it's something to do with the people of this world rather than with the music itself, like some sort of an innate magic that gets freed with music or something along those lines. And Belle, presumably not being of this world, does not have this music in her. And there was also a guy, Adonis, who appeared at the inn looking for Blanc. Why am I calling... I know why I'm calling her Blanc, because her surname is Lablac, and I got it into my head that it's LaBlanc. So Belle Lablac. It's Belle, yeah. Looking for Belle, presumably. I think that's it. I think that's it. Man, this world. So yeah, in today's episode, Belle is gonna fight the centaur guy, and probably something else is gonna happen as well. So far from what we've seen, the episodes never like cover just, you know, one single thing. There's usually at least like a couple of things per episode. So I fully expect the battle to start and end in this very episode with something else to follow. Maybe meeting Adonis, maybe, I don't know, getting certified to be a solist for the king, something like that, right? She needs to get her uniform still, so maybe that's what's gonna happen. I have no clue. This, I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me if, like, whatever happens in this show would not surprise me, right? Show us, I don't fucking know, ancient Mesopotamian pyramids rising from the river and aliens inside. I mean, sure. Abso-fucking-lutely, I'm gonna take it in stride. Doesn't matter, really. But yeah, I guess we should just start watching episode 3, right? Shall we? To do it, you will need your subs, of course. You will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 3 of Bye Bye Earth in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, and there's this, the army of insatiable emptiness, who somehow consists solely of human corpses. And, like, takes the person who is the most depressed in the area. Oh, I thought this is like a afterlife. But apparently he survived. So that's the smoking illusions. So that's this sword, right, that presumably also made Belle's sword. Also, Xian doesn't look like his hand was hacked clean off, does it? Yep, that's the sword, right. I know what guidance means, thank you very much. What's that supposed to mean? Okay, what's that supposed to mean? A child of reason. We need someone who opposes reason. First thing that comes to mind is that this world has been somehow created, as in artificial, and some weird rules have been established, like music makes plants grow, swords are grown, eating plants is taboo, and other, you know, weird shit like that. And somehow it needs a person who's gonna be like, wait, it doesn't make sense for music to make plants grow. What the fuck's going on there? Right? Like someone suspicious of the status quo in this world. Something like that, maybe? That would be my best guess. Actually, I'm gonna note it down. Child of reason is here to notice and question all the weird shit. Yeah, probably. Or rather, that would be my best guess right about now. Oh yeah. Exactly. A very good question, actually, yeah. Your sword doesn't exactly cut anymore, does it? Okay, so swords are essentially plants here. And monsters are plants. Are swords monsters? Yeah, that's what it would translate to from French, wouldn't it? Not as easy to cut this sword, it seems. I assume the curse only prevents her from killing sentient beings because she did not have any issue destroying the swords of those guys at the inn. So presumably cut the sword and you win. Yep. Prevents you from cutting. Living flesh, at least. Destroy his sword so he can no longer fight. Are we watching Black Clover now with all this yelling? Oh, what's going on there? Well, that was easy. She can't exactly. She won. That's all that matters. She doesn't necessarily need to kill you, does she? And there goes another sword. You're cursed to never have a sword for long, my dude. Okay, so apparently killing him is fine, but destroying the sword is not. Huh. People are really reverent towards swords, aren't they? What is the hammer of fear? Another opponent? There goes Hammer of Fear, I guess. And how did he get injured on both his arms also? That was a very abrupt transition from the arena to the throne room. Again with the music, huh? Okay. You know what? I like it. Thematically. You get cursed, and you need to work through understanding your curse. Only then will it turn into a blessing. I really like it conceptually. Yeah, doesn't it? Okay, whose voice is that? Yeah. Not really any other choice, is there? Whomst? Sian? I guess Sian. The girl of reason. Live on as a dead man. What's that supposed to mean? Like, officially he's dead, but unofficially he... Little brother? Excusez-moi? What are you munching on? Right, he's a bunny boy. Philosopher's Stone. Wait. Where the fuck did the Philosopher's Stone come from? And that word doesn't even get an explanation. I mean, this Sacred Ash seems awful pink for being Sacred Ash. The one used on Belle was like bluish white. Did he get turned into a human with the Philosopher's Stone? Or... illusion? Okay. Yeah, and the... Who's your beloved? Belle, okay, apparently. Okay. Why? Why? Just because they're evil, or why? What? Okay. I guess that's the signal for attack. I mean, why wait to be selected? Just, you know, go there. Who the fuck's gonna stop you? I mean, yeah, it is a heavy sword. What the fuck are the rules of this world? Took them. Why? So wait, like you can't make yourself an instrument? Are they also like specifically grown or something? Okay, time to break some more swords. Our bows also grown. Our axes. I don't see any inscriptions on them. Okay, fire magic. You could consider running Belle. Or just, yeah, destroy the spell. I guess that also works. You're kinda late, yeah. Yeah, it's only sentient sapient beings that you cannot cut, I believe. Oh, and here's the father as well. Good. Temporarily. Yes, people age generally. Miss Solist. Not a sister. I guess she doesn't know of Belle? Very similar name. Yeah, apparently. So you named her after Belle, but you never told her that she has a sister. On one hand, nice sentiment, on the other, weirdly on the contrary. Oh. Right, her pendant thing. What even is that pendant of yours? Oh? Bunny boy? Bunny boy! Did he come here to take back Belle's possession? What is that pocket watch? Does it, like, let you stop time or something? Kitty the Owl. Sure. I mean, nothing makes sense in this world. Why would names, right? So is it like a split personality thing, or what? And even a stage? I mean, yeah, it's a very nice and homely place, gotta say. Swallow Woman. Building also requires a song. Also, Swallow Woman, does it mean they have like regular swallows and they see the similarity? Or do they like not have swallows, but it's just a, I don't know, species of a human creature thing? What language is it? if any. Okay, so that was a gift from her parents. I guess that's why she was looking for it so desperately. Hmm. Okay, so we again have the, curse turning into a blessing. Is that her curse? Yeah, being a nomad. Okay. Interesting. So she made something, right? She made a memory, if you look at it this way. A lot of meat on the table. I mean, yeah, sure. I'll believe it. I'll believe it. That you were predestined to do that and your parents knew. Oh, did he trade his pocket watch for the pendant? Holy shit. With every episode, this world grows more and more alien, but stays, like, oddly consistent? Hmm. I really wish they slowed down a little bit, you know? Just a smidge. Just a smidge. It's not even because, I don't know, the pacing is bad or anything like that. I don't mind the pacing. It's just they're throwing so much stuff at us that it's kind of hard to absorb it all, right? Like one moment they tell you, "Oh, songs are used to build buildings," and then you're trying to process the fact that okay, songs are used to build buildings, so the songs are used to create things, and then you're hit with something else, and before you can process that, you're hit with something else, right? It's dense. It's dense. Very, very dense. Oh boy. Okay, let's watch it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. Army of Insatiable Darkness. Insatiable emptiness. Yeah, emptiness. And this weird area that looks kind of like a bunch of circus tents, but also with like tribal use of bone and tusk. And yet the army does not bother anybody inside. And she's like a merwoman. I barely survived. She hacked my arm clean off. I barely survived, but he clearly has his arm back. I would say it's, well, the sacred ashes that just regrew his arm? Maybe. Smoking illusions. So it's not like actual tobacco or any other like smoke leaf or whatever. It's just an illusion of smoke. I guess that would explain why he's using this weird like crystal thing and not like something to burn. Gav's not so little. He'll be the next Prince of Fortune. What the fuck does Prince of Fortune mean exactly? Is he royalty? Does he know how sacred ashes are made, but someone's gone to the castle to uncover the secret? The Girl of Reason. So the making of the sacred ashes is a secret. So probably something unseemly. I don't know, they grind down broken swords into sacred ashes or something like that, right? Or corpses. Then again, I really don't think that in this world corpses would be, or people's lives would be valued much more than swords. It really seems like swords are the thing that has like the utmost value here, but I'm gonna note that sacred ashes are made in an unseemly way. Ground down swords, corpses, infants, etc. Something along those lines. In time it will lead her to places even we never reach. The guidance, that which shows the way. And thank you for the translation. Truly. We'll need someone who's suspicious of reason. The principles of this land will finally be put to the test. I really think that this is what it's all about, right? Like, the principles of this land are set in a way, and Belle is here to question them and challenge them, right? Like, I don't know. Everybody knows that you need music to grow crops. But Belle is going to grow crops without music, for example. And she's gonna notice, shit, I mean, tomatoes still grow without music. A little slower, and they're a little less sweet, but they still grow without music. So what gives, right? In this very episode, she already challenged the principle that you don't touch, you don't destroy or damage even a person's sword. You can take their life, and that's perfectly fine, but not the sword, right? She did the opposite. She did something that makes sense by our sensibilities, right? That makes sense by the reason of us normal quote-unquote folk, right? To me, to you, to other people, I'm assuming to like majority people in the world, it would make sense that if you can win a fight by killing your opponent or by destroying their weapon, you should probably opt for destroying their weapon instead. A life is more precious than a weapon after all. But this principle is inverted in this world, for some reason or another, and Belle will be here to challenge that. That's the vibe I'm getting. Deus Ex Machina included, so yeah, apparently. OP. Arena of Blades, and we see the fight. Kir Royal, one of the 4 solists who oversee the right of contracts. Will I be able to cut him now that I'm cursed? Yeah, it really seems like her curse is that she cannot cut like living beings, or sentient, sapient beings at least. But anything else is fair game. If she needs to cut a bars of a cage, sure. If she needs to chop some wood, if she needs to hunt for food, if she needs to destroy someone's weapon, right? That works. That works. But when she is about to strike an opponent, that's when it doesn't work. Could it be like a forcing her in a way to go against the principles of the world? Right? Like, the principle is you strike the man, not their weapon. But she cannot win by striking the man, she can only win by striking the weapon. The principle might be that you can eat what you hunt down, right? Animals and stuff, but don't ever, like, eat the plants. But maybe she is unable to hunt for meat with her sword, but she can cut down the plants. So, like it or not, she's gonna have to subsist on plants if traveling somewhere. And that will be the big reversal of the rules of the world. I raised this new sword from the seeds of the one you shattered. So swords can release seeds, apparently. Lived. Right. Everything we are hangs on this duel. Schwertmusik played to entertain God. I guess Schwertmusik is essentially a duel, right? Yeah, he got hit in just one arm, but then later he shows a wound on both. A lot of screaming. And yeah, how can I win? Disarm him. And now he's hurt on both arms. I guess this is where the strike in the other arm happened? Yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, sure, makes sense. Gotcha. I thought it might have been like an animation error, but no, he got struck in both arms. Yeah, finish me. Can't exactly. There's only one way to get you out of the fight. And this is like a huge taboo, apparently. Like, worse thing than his own life being taken. And even perceived like that by the audience. How could she break his sword? How shameless can she be? And then we have this fear will make you pay. The hammer of fear, the hammer of fear, the hammer of fear. And I was fully expecting like a second boss to arrive, essentially. Maybe God's executioner with a hammer that kills. That is the hammer of fear, right? People fear the hammer man because he will come and execute them. And so he's named Hammer of Fear. Maybe something like that. Maybe a fighter, a warrior whose nickname is the Hammer of Fear. Maybe just the god or the priest or whoever is gonna summon a holy hammer from the skies and is gonna strike Belle, but she will block it and thus defy another rule of the world. Or something like that is what I was expecting. But then we just get snap. Glory to the victor. And everybody gets like immediately silent. Nobody seems to care anymore. He himself doesn't seem to care that much anymore. I don't know, it seems weird to have this, you know, build up to Hammer of Fear, Hammer of Fear, Hammer of Fear, Hammer of Fear. Glory to the victor. Right, kind of jarring transition. Initially, I thought that they might have moved to another location as well, which would be even worse. But I don't think they did. Yeah, this is still the area of battle or whatever. They are just stationed in front of the god, the priest rather. Shall welcome you as a soulist. You who knock on the door of journeys, we bid you await 3 duties. In accordance with the crest of Schwertland, you shall play 3 pieces of Schwert music to soothe our god. So like what? 3 jewels in the arena? Is that what it is? Like, does their god subsist on watching people fight? And she will have to fight 3 people, and that's how she gets to be a nomad? I was expecting something else, not gonna lie. I was expecting her to either have to perform like a couple of specific deeds, like, I don't know, there is a temple that's been overtaken by monsters. Go to that temple and kill the monsters and bring us proof. There is the big dragon living up north. Journey north, kill the dragon, bring us proof. And as the final proof, you will have to fight your brother in arms, Shandigath, to the death. Or, you know, something to that effect. Alternatively, I expected it to be as simple as you want to travel the world, you want to leave the country, but we will have to appreciate the country first and work for the country first before you are freed from that obligation. So you will serve the country for a year, right? You're gonna be solist in service of the country for a year, then you can fuck off wherever you want. But you need to serve the country for a year. Something like that, maybe. But apparently it's going to all come down to like 3 duels in the arena, and apparently those duels also soothe the god somehow. Observe the curse with which you have been tasked. In doing so, in so doing, you shall ultimately receive a blessing. I really fucking like it. You know? I really like it, again, conceptually. Or even, hell, as a game mechanic. Right? As a game mechanic. Say, in a game, you get a curse of your attacks deal 50% less damage and you cannot heal, right? And if you fill the bar of killing 100 enemies, then it gets turned into your attacks deal 25% more damage and they also lifesteal, right? Like something that was a curse gets turned into a blessing after you fulfill specific goals, right? I really like it. Or in this case, right, someone who was cursed with being unable to strike living creatures, seemingly, and if they understand why, if they understand the point of this curse, if she can observe it and understand how it works, when it doesn't work, then she either might be able to turn this curse into a blessing in that she will see the positives of it and will be able to play into them instead of trying to fight against the curse. She will be able to go with the flow. Maybe, again, focusing on breaking enemy weapons instead of focusing on killing the enemies, which is going to turn out to be better in the long run, somehow. Or when she reaches the understanding, the curse will actually turn into a blessing from unable to strike living beings to able to cut anything. For example, right? Maybe something like that. Sacred ashes, yeah. That fix her wounds, and apparently there was also the burns that she sustained on her hands. Where was it? Somewhere here, right? I wanted to take a look at that. Yeah, lots of fire. And yeah, I guess it's a burn. It's her sword heating up and burning her. This like splatter of blood kinda, you know, threw me off because I thought, oh, maybe the sword became sharp in like, you know, a quality of sharp was given to the entirety of the sword. And so even the handle that is usually not sharp cut her hands or something like that. Or maybe she gripped it just so fucking strongly that she broke through her skin. Something like that maybe, but apparently those were just burns. Gotcha. Magic burns of some description, yeah, but burns nonetheless. Solists spend their lives raising swords as an extension of themselves, yeah. Once broken, a sword ceases to grow, it can only wither. Yep, all of that has been established. If I can't cut people, I'll have to break the swords of everyone I fight, yes. And I think this might be what you discover to be a blessing, eventually. Again, I think that her sword's name being Utopia might have something to do with that. You know, in a utopia, ideally, people would not die or be hurt, and there would be no need for weapons. So that kind of plays into the concept of utopia, right? You can't hurt people, because that's not very utopian of you, but you can destroy weapons, because that's very utopian, right? Maybe something like that? Would you sacrifice that girl on the altar of your own desire? Do you seek vengeance on our god, the god whose curse binds you? This reads as if Xian has some sort of a, I don't know, ulterior motive, maybe? You were reborn royalty. By becoming an Enola, you escaped our god. How? By becoming a master or Enola or a teacher, whatever you call it, do you just tie your cuts with the god? Tie your cuts, yeah. Cut your ties with the god? By becoming a nomad, you escaped our kingdom. Yeah, I mean, that much makes sense. How could we read it? If you're not an Enola, if you're not a teacher, that means you don't create your own knowledge. You believe what the god tells you. Maybe by the nature of the world, it's just how the world works. Maybe by force, maybe by choice. If you decide to be an Enola, you reject the teachings of God and you create your own teachings. Maybe something along those lines, right? So by becoming an Enola, you escape the god. By becoming a nomad, you escape the kingdom. That makes sense. In that, it really seems that being a nomad is like a big thing, capital B, capital T, where you can't just leave the kingdom just like that, right? You're a peasant, you're playing music to grow some corn, you can't just one day decide to leave the kingdom. It's just not how it works. Again, either by the nature of the world, or by force, some wall or guards or a magical tug at your heartstrings that keep you in place, something like that, or by choice, meaning the people just, don't have the need and don't even think that, you know what, I could probably leave my village and go somewhere else. Nah, stupid idea. Maybe something like that. There really seems to be something more to people traveling. And thus, by becoming a nomad, by getting a license to travel, essentially, you can escape the kingdom. Which is interesting, because it tells us that both the system here, the god and how the world works and the kingdom, are extremely fucking oppressive in a way where it doesn't allow you to normally. You can't be a teacher, you can't travel, you can't look for new knowledge, you can't look for new areas, right? You need to sit at your house, you need to play lute to your corn, that's what you do, and don't ever dream of more. But on the other hand, there are mechanics established that allow them to break out of the system. That's the most important part here, right? It would be a different thing if the kingdom actually had like a magical barrier around it, not allowing anybody to leave. If there was a force of inquisitors who will burn you at the stake if you dare try to possess some new knowledge, right? That's like a very clear oppression, and then you can only break through that by being a rebel, by saying, you know what, I'm gonna look for knowledge anyway. You know what, I found that cave that goes under the barrier, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna see how the world looks outside. I'm gonna find new species of plants, I'm gonna meet new people, I'm gonna see the world, right? But this is like sanctioned by, not sanctioned, this like approved by the god king. The god allows you to go against them, and the king allows you to go against them as well, which is very interesting here. What did you gain at your journey's end? You've returned to say your farewells. You've returned to destroy us. Well, he didn't really try to destroy you, so weird. None will pursue a dead man, not even God. Right, so essentially he has been stripped of his status as a living being, so to speak. Right, like he's officially dead, the god believes he's dead, the king knows he's dead, but he can just go out there and go wherever. And apparently little brother. Now is it figuratively or literally? That's the big question here, isn't it? That's the big question. Philosopher's Stone. Apparently. Sure. Where? From? How? Where the fuck did the Philosopher's Stone come from? I don't know. And this dude is... the bunny boy is also very fucking weird in his actions, and, like, I've no clue what he's after. The fool who would give that up and the threads of fate with it. Okay, so the watch is something important that handles the threads of fate somehow. And I'm assuming by saying what a fool, he refers to his animal form, right? Animal form being Kitty the Nothing and human form being Kitty the All. I don't even need to bother recalculating. This is a very interesting term to use here, isn't it? Recalculating. Again, very sci-fi, very computery, something that a robot would say, right? Beep, boop, recalculating, and not a magical Alice in Wonderland rabbit. Which again lends a little bit of credence to the theory that God is a machine, literally. I don't know. All formulae mine, go forth and spread word. Formulae, like he's referring to formulae as if they were his like pets or servants or something. Like substitute for fairies, right? All fairies mine, go forth and spread word. But he says formulae, which is plural for formula. How would a formula go? How would a formula spread word? Like you write down a formula, like 2 parts hydrogen plus 1 part oxygen, introduce heat, you get water. The most basic fucking chemical formula, and you spread it. How's that supposed to work? Or is it another instance of a word used to mean not the thing that it actually means? Right? Like he says formulae, formula. But in this world, formulas are ghosts, sentient fucking spirits, or something like that. Maybe that would be an explanation. And I guess those were the formulae being spread. And Adonis is helping those fuckers. It's weird though. I mean, yeah, those sacred ashes do seem weird actually. They're a different color. I'll only need mental math. Again with the math, again with the like computery thing. You know what? It immediately makes me think of like controlling the simulation, so to speak. Right? Like he's there and he's like I don't have a pocket watch on me, I'm gonna use my buds. He's like, yes, you have 200 HP, let's turn it down to 1. You have like 500 defense, that's a little bit too much, but if I use this, yeah, that's gonna work. I only needed mental math to figure out your stats and defeat you, right? Like, it's kind of like that, kind of this sort of a vibe it gives me. Like the rabbit can see through the simulation to some degree, right? The world is a simulation. Kitty can control the simulation / world in case the world isn't actually a simulation but rather runs on a omniscient, omnipotent machine, right? In case he has an insight into that machine or something along those lines, which would explain many of his powers, kinda, right? Like he could teleport instantly. How? Well, he can just change his coordinates in the world. Easy. Spreading formulae around, well, those could be mathematical formulae. And they could resolve into a message, for example, and they can be spread around. His pocket watch holding the fates in it would be like this pocket watch, allowing him to see all possibilities of the simulation, where it goes, where does it branch, and thus allowing him to make the most optimal choice. Something along those lines, maybe, right? Him being able to set them on fire without actually setting them on fire, again, makes sense. He opens them like software. He decompiles their code and changes the boolean on fire from false to true. And they believe they're on fire. Because he also modified the health removal function to not take being on fire into account, or, you know, something like that. Or he only showed the particle effects of being on fire and the pain, but no other effects of actually being on fire, right? It... My beloved wouldn't fall prey to purgatorial dreams so easily. Would you, girl of reason? Evil souls will raid the Under East District any day now. They'll strike right around where your parents live. Again, everything is... yeah. It's all reminiscent of a game, isn't it? In some weird, twisted way. Where else would you see a clean divide of evil bandits and the good townsfolk than in a game? The good people, well, they're the NPCs. They give you quests and they sell you stuff. The evil bandits, well, they're just whatever. Go and kill them. They're just evil. There's nothing more to them, just evilness. So it's, you know, no biggie. and you need somewhere to grind your XP. Right? This raid that's been planned and that the god knows of, it's like an event. It's planned to happen. The developers released a blog post saying that on Friday they will release a new event, get a download, like 5 gigs patch, and you need to be at least level 15 to take part in it. And at this time, the raid boss will appear and raid the city and be there or be square, and you can get a profile icon if you take part. Right? Now, mind you, I'm not saying that this is some sort of a trapped in a VR MMO kind of thing, but without actually telling us that she's trapped in a VR MMO. It would be plausible, but it would very much cheapen everything that happened here. So I don't think that's what happens here. But I think it might be the god, the Deus Ex Machina, running this world as if it was simulation. It's, again, somehow omnipotent, and it understands that very simple, like, binary of good and evil, and so it creates the good people and the evil people, right? It understands strict schedule. It's easier for a computer to say this is when a raid will happen and cause that raid to happen, than try to simulate the tensions between the two districts and right, stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily a simulation, but an omnipotent machine running the world as if it was. The omnipotent machine is running the world as if it was simulation / game. Right? And maybe that's also where the weirdness comes from. Maybe the machine is damaged somehow. I have no clue. The king knows of the planned raid, but only solists chosen by divine summons will do battle. Again, everything is very clinical, very clearly defined, right? There are evil people raiding your city, but if you were not chosen to defend from this raid, well, you're not going to. And that's fine. That's what people accept. If it was even preordained that, listen, a dragon is going to attack and it's going to wipe out the town, and the town will be wiped out, it's gonna happen, then people will be like, oh, yeah, sure, I guess we're gonna get wiped out, whatever, without actually trying to fight it, because the god did not say you have to fight the dragon. I'm reminded kinda of the QA Isekai, the first episode in particular, where the village was predestined. If you wait till they attack, it'll be too late, genius. Yeah. And again, Belle is the voice of reason. Belle is the voice to see, like, wait a fucking minute. Why are we supposed to wait for the raid? Why am I supposed to wait to be chosen? I can just fucking go there and defend the district. I don't need to wait. I don't need to be chosen. Right? This is the voice of reason. Gav's not allowed to say anything. And yeah, people are not allowed to go against how the world works. It seems like only Belle here goes against the grain, and maybe Kitty. Arguably Kitty as well. Also, just a side note, I like that Belle is wearing a new dress now. Yeah, that's the instrument. And more cage turtles. Katanas. Weirdly shaped katanas as well. Bows, I don't see any inscriptions, neither on the axes, but I'm assuming they are grown as well, as all weapons are. That's a very cool way to cast magic, without like a wand or a staff, but rather with your pipe that already has an ember in it, so it allows you to cast fire magic, and Belle can just shatter that magic. Because it would make no sense for fire to appear just randomly, right? It makes no fucking sense. It's unreasonable. The reasonable thing would be that he swung around his pipe and nothing happened. That's what realistically would happen. And so she is able to bring this world to reality, to reasonableness, easily. Maybe? Maybe. When did she exactly lose the pendant? I wonder if it's actually shown. That would be a nifty detail if it was. Oh, she already does not have the pendant on her. Yeah, here she has it, and then cut she doesn't. I thought maybe during the fight with those, like, lizard people or whatever they are, it would be shown that someone actually grabbed her, or just an arm passed by her neck or something like that. They are late because they were perhaps supposed to be late. The simulation was supposed to go the way where the villagers are taken, and the army does not manage to save them. But because of Belle, the simulation went the completely different way. Miss Solis. So she was named Belle's little sister, yet she does not know of Belle. And yeah, I'm gonna be a nomad. I want to say vagabond for a moment, but yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing. And now he's smoking crystal meth, apparently. She was, and now he's smoking actual embers. Haven't come to fight, and now he exchanges willingly his pocket watch for the pendant. Some reason. The pocket watch is supposed to be like the big thing that controls fate, and yet he gives it away so easily. And yeah, he doesn't have the pocket watch chain anymore. Kitty the Owl. And the animal is Kitty the Nothing. What sort of a meaning could there be to that? Kitty, a rabbit called Kitty. It oddly makes sense in a world that does not make sense, right? And the Nothing title and the All title. The Nothing. Kitty the Owl just behaves like a wild rabbit. There is nothing special to him. It's just a rabbit in a coat. And that's it. Meanwhile, Kitty the Owl is not only sentient, sapient, he also has control of the simulation to some degree, and the knowledge of the simulation, and weird superpowers. Maybe? On the rocks. All lands have places where nomads gather. Just requested a song. She'll sing, you can't be building something, so why do you ask for a song? Now this is weird, you see. Like, I get singing and playing to the crops, right? You could say that it's magic fertilizer. The crops don't grow without song. You sing to the crops and they grow, right? Sure, okay. I accept it. But building, though, like, you see people lay down the brickwork. You see people moving bricks around. You see people actually working on building that wall. So what the fuck do they need a song for? It would be a different thing if buildings were, like, sung into existence. You sing a song of the house, and the bedrock from in the ground starts raising and forming walls, right? Buildings are grown, just like swords are grown. But this is built. So why the song? To provide a buff to the workers? I don't know. I don't require a song to create anything, telling us that Kitty the Owl can just casually create anything without needing a song or anything else. I wonder what language it is. It sounds like a weird mixture of German and French with bits and pieces of Latin. You kept seeking what you hoped to find, for you knew it was your road home. You squint your eyes again against the newborn radiance. When that time comes, may even you, little one, find a way to live where true peace is. Oh, let us wake without casting any more spells. Again, spells. We don't really see any magic used, do we? The cockroach man was the first instance of magic being used that we've seen. May the curse of our traveler to be become a blessing in time. Did she really not make anything? Could it be that it's not just Belle, who's the voice of reason in this world, but the nomads at large? Like, you sing to create. That's the rule of the world. But the nomads discovered that you can sing just to sing. And you can listen to a song for pleasure, not to give you a buff in throwing stones around. No, it can just be for the sake... It can just be sung for the sake of being sung. But Belle is gonna be, like, the most reasonable of them all? Like, something like that? Like the chosen one of the nomads? Actually, I'm gonna note it down. Nomads discover the unreasonableness, if that's even a fucking word, of the world, which would check out the common sense of the world. The rule of the world is you don't eat plants. Plants being monsters. Cian did. And he was a nomad. And an Enola. You don't sing if you don't create something. Well, here's a nomad who sings without creating. Lots of meat on those plates. Couple of, like, twigs or something. I think, like, a piece of carrot on each plate. But it could very well also be meat. They knew I'd go traveling someday. I think it's less preordained and more like they realize that she's different and she will probably want to find her roots one day, and that's how they knew, probably. Or again, it actually was preordained in the grand scheme of the simulation. Farewell to those who play the land. The balance will shift, yeah, bet. Spell of proof still distant. Does spell mean something else in this world? There was something like when Belle got the dog tag, right? Put your spell on it, not name. They really get a lot of mileage from using words against their actual meaning, don't they? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Well, that was an episode, wasn't it? It was again a barrage of new alien things that still oddly made sense. When Kitty said that, you know, what was it? Let my formulae go and spread the word, or whatever was the formula that he used there. I didn't really bat an eye that much at it. Like, wondering about it for a while longer made me, you know, realize fully that, hey, formulae can't really go. They're not even really, like, you know, tangible. A piece of paper with a formula, that is tangible, that is physical something. A formula itself, it's like a rule of the world, right? 2 + 2 is 4. It doesn't have any physicality to it, but it is factual and existent in that way. I don't know. But yeah, like, when watching this show and hearing all those things, it's such a weird feeling where half of my brain is like, what the fuck is going on there? And the other half is answering, I have no fucking clue, but it makes sense. It's weird. It's so absolutely bizarre and otherworldly, this entire show. And trying to figure anything out is an exercise in futility. Because it could very well be that it is just a simulation. And that's why it's so bizarre. Because that's how it was programmed. It could very well be that the god created this world in this way and is omnipotent enough to upkeep those rules. And there's your explanation. There's no other reason for swords to be grown besides the god willed them to be so. Right? Yeah, this show is so incredibly bizarre. But I'm enjoying it, you know? I really am enjoying it. I'm enjoying trying to create all those theories, trying to look for any bits and pieces that vaguely make sense or can be massaged into making sense. You know? Like the bit with, I don't know, sacred ashes being made in an unseemly way, for example. It wasn't really stated outright. Just one character said that it's nasty stuff, and that's all we have to go for. But somehow I trust that character to know what they're talking about, and that it actually is a nasty stuff. You know what I mean? It's so hard to even talk about this show, honestly. It really is. During the discussion section, I have like material to talk about, stuff shown on the screen that I can actually discuss and back what I'm talking about with. But then you have, but after I'm done watching it, it's really hard to talk more about it. But I think in the course of this episode, I think I did glimpse a little bit through the veil of obscurity and of nonsense. I really think I'm onto something, believing that the nomads discover the unreasonableness of the world, right? Like they are the chosen ones, so to speak, to discover the things that make no sense and maybe go against them. I think I'm onto something, believing in the omnipotent machine, in the god being an omnipotent machine. I think I'm onto something, believing that Kitty can somehow see this world as the simulation or whatever it actually is. And someone's revving their car outside. Oh yeah, regardless, I think that's gonna be it from me. I really don't think I have anything more to say on the topic. I'm gonna be looking forward to the next episode for sure, because, I mean, shit, I'm gonna be looking forward to any episode here, because every single episode has the potential to bring some new information and take some away by introducing something completely new and bizarre. Like the fucking Philosopher's Stone, where did that come from? Where the fuck did Belle get a Philosopher's Stone? Right? I don't know, man. This show is so utterly bizarre, and I kinda love it. Kinda do. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. It's already a long video, so let us end this here. But you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? Say so in the comments down below. No spoilers, please, I beg of you. Spoilers can go to my Discord if you want, also in the description. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Bye Bye Earth, but also Spice and Wolf, Wistoria, although there's not gonna be an episode this week, so I hear Isekai, Shikkaku, QA Isekai, and plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when I go live, because I do live streams sometimes, and of course to be notified of the videos. Support the channel if you want, monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube via membership, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Nedza, Rainy, Yuki, Ally, Dr. Woodfried, Dick Jung, Alcomancer, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to make any fucking sense.